And how y'all doing? Tonight we are going to go through my early life events. Starting in 1973, I was born on August 1st in Portland, Maine. As a matter of fact, in the very hospital that I am residing in right now. Lots changed, of course. They've expanded and expanded, become much bigger of a hospital. But still, this is the hospital I was born in. At the time I was born, my mother lived up on Munjoy Hill here in Portland. I believe she lived at 57 Munjoy Ave, but I'm not positive. It's on my birth certificate, but I haven't seen my birth certificate in several years because everything's away in storage. Sorry about the wiggling. My mother, Bonnie, was married to my biological father. His name was Michael. Michael Payton, as a matter of fact. He was a prick. He drank, he smoked, he did coke, he beat the shit out of my mom and my brother. Of course, I wouldn't know this until I was much older. But he just kept beating my mom until one night my mom took my older brother and I and ran away and went and lived with her mother, my mother, my grandmother, maternal, of course, and moved us all to live with her in Old Orchard Beach. From what I understand, there's a lot of trouble, and the police back then didn't really care to do a whole lot about this, but it is what it is. My mother eventually was able to divorce my father, and at some point, I think by the time I was 3, he just stopped giving a fuck. So my mother still lived in Old Orchard with my grandmother, and lived there for several years until my grandmother died of cancer. I'm not totally positive, but I think that this was around when I was 4, so sometime in the 1977 area. My mother was pretty devastated, but unfortunately, not a whole lot that she could do. My grandmother rented, so my mother and my brother and I ended up having to move back to Portland. We moved to a couple of different apartments on Outer Forest Avenue. One of the buildings is still standing, but the other one I don't believe is. Um, but I barely uh, remember them. I I remember glimpses here and there, but not a whole lot. Um, During this time when we lived in Portland, I went to like a daycare at the YMCA. Um, I met my first love, which was a girl named, I believe her name was Carrie. She was from the South. One of her parents was in the Coast Guard, and she was my first kiss. I distinctly remember, and sorry, I lost my place, and I'm not really good enough at this yet to know how to go back and do edits and stuff like that. So I'm just going to try to pick up where I was. So we had moved back to my first kiss. Yeah, I don't really remember much about her except she was my age, which is to say around 4. She was a little black girl she had big, huge afro palms. She had one on each side of her head, and that's pretty much how she wore her hair every day during the warmer months. During the winter, I remember that her mom, it wasn't cornrows, but I guess it was something, it was like braids similar to that, like closer to the skull. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just distinctly remember it, and I don't know if it was just one time or if it was several times, but my mom did back up this story. I did talk to her about it when I was in my 20s, I think, just to confirm that it was real and that I wasn't making it up. But during nap time, we had a nap time, and during nap time, we would have our cots next to each other, and there wasn't an adult in the room, and we would just very sweet, innocent, like touch noses and kiss and touch foreheads and hold hands, and it was just very, very sweet, and I feel like that kind of dictated a lot. So anyway, so that was my first kiss, and she ended up being, her parents left. As I said, I believe that they were in the Coast Guard, and her parents ended up leaving before I left. But there was sometime I think in the spring that my mom found a new place to live. And this place to live was in a town called South China here in Maine. And it was on a farm. And it was just a house rental. And that I will pick up on in my next video. So thanks for listening. Jasmine, Jack, Silas, I love you guys. Anybody else watching? Thanks for watching, and I hope you're getting something out of this. I feel like I'm getting a lot out of it just talking. So thanks for listening, and see you in the next video.